Hi, Sandy. How you doing? I've got your work up. Thank you so much for the early submission. Give us plenty of time here to get where we need to be. All right, I'll tell you what, I think the best way to do this is why don't I just go through the presentation and I'll just kind of think out loud, giving you my thoughts, not only on the content, but the design as well. Okay, so let's start with the first page. And the one thing I see on the first page is that it seems to be lacking hierarchy. In other words, what do you want the viewer to look at? And what is the message you want the viewer to leave this title page with? Okay, human rights is, well, it should be human rights, isn't it? Human right and social justice. Shouldn't that be human rights? But it's kind of jumbled up here with the hands, the diversity hands in the background there. So it's A, difficult to read, and B, it's hard to tell if that's where you want us to look, because the hierarchy is presented in such a way that by placing these hands behind the headlines, it makes it appear though as though they're not that important to the composition. Do you see what I'm saying? The other thing that I think is that what you need to do with this page is just to take a look at it and say, what do I want the viewer to look at first, second, and third? The last thing I want to mention about this title page is that you've got these design elements over here, and basically what they're doing are stealing attention away from where attention should be, and that should be the title area of the paper, right? And then finally, you're using one, two, let me see, is that, oh, okay, that's just two typefaces, so you're all right. Okay, let's jump over here to the presentation and outline. That's cool, thanks. That's cool. Okay, now, presentation-wise, I think this is where it's really going to fall apart. Let me explain why. Look at this page. There's a couple of things I think are an issue. Number one is that it's really difficult to try to read through this background. I think you're using this color background too much. You don't need it, and it just is interfering with the text. The second problem I see with this page is that it's a very daunting task to look at this page and go, oh, wow, that's a lot of reading. There's a couple of things we can do in design to circumvent those issues, and one of the things is to not make these text lines so long. The obvious first thing that you should be thinking of is, oh, well, let's use two columns. And that would be exactly correct. Instead of a one long column of type, make two shorter columns with a gutter in between. Okay, and I could say that can be true for the entire project. Okay, it'll be just make it much easier to read through. I noticed a couple of things like right here. This presumably is showing a Mahatma Gandhi. So is there a quote in here? If there is, it's not exactly clear where the quote is because it's not presented separate from this body copy. So with the quote within the body copy, it just doesn't work like that. I would say if you're going to use a quote, pull it away and treat it like a pull quote. Okay, as far as the presentation itself goes, I think that I would recommend this. I didn't look, but I can guarantee this is 8.5 by 11. And let's pull up our rulers, and it indeed is 8.5, 11. And I think a lot of student designers default to 8.5 by 11, but the truth of the matter is it's not a very interesting page size. I think that there's a lot of other page sizes that you could do to make a presentation really a lot more interesting than 8.5 by 11. So think about your page size, do a little research, and see what you come up with in terms of page size. Okay. I mean, you know what? Even 11 by 8.5 is going to be a lot more interesting in terms of layout and presentation than this basic 8.5 by 11. So I think what would be even more interested would be something like 11 or something like 13 by 8.5, 13 inches wide by 8.5, presented in spreads so that you have a page on the left and a page on the right with your two columns in between. Okay, so think about just think about alternate layout presentation styles. Okay. This is fantastic. This is really great. We can see exactly what, kind of what your visually thought process was. And it's good that you're talking about things. You don't ever want to have a part of a word or one word on a line alone in typography. So you'll want to definitely work your typography. You've got, out of 3 lines also, you've got 2 hyphens. So you want to work those out. That's too many. I don't like to use hyphens. I know a lot of designers don't. So careful with that. Your presentation, I mean, in terms of the content, this is fabulous. It's just great. I love it. Everything is explained beautifully. Everything is really visually cohesive, so that, you know, we're not getting caught up in anything, other than the stuff that I've mentioned. Okay, now let's come down here to, okay, this page right here, it's really difficult to read with these color backgrounds. I would totally remove those. You don't need them, but black on color is really a lot more difficult to read than black on white, which is presumably what it should be. Okay, and then over here, these images right here, I think that a lot of your type, like this type, look how much you've got. You should have a consistent space between your images and where your type starts on every page. So see how that page right there is about the size of my cursor, and then that space right there is about the same. That's all really good. That one's a little wider, so that would need to be adjusted. But then look at this one. This one, the text is right up on top of the image, so there's an inconsistency that you're going to want to address. Now, these images at the side here, I mean, they're fine, but give us some sort of a relationship. Like, why is this here? You can use that labeling technique to show us that that's the floor. You know what I'm saying? Point to it. Point to the extrusions here so that the viewer knows that that's where they're being used. Do you see what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to use those labeling techniques that we used. Okay, again, you've got this color, this all this type on this color background, making it really super difficult to read. Now, one of my things is that you've got your collateral piece, you got your folder with the card inside. Okay, and those get planted. Then you have your giveaway bracelets, and that's all good. My issue and my question is this: it's regarding this piece right here. Okay, now we have this thing that we've been using all semester, all session, called, it's the 3 big considerations for sustainability. And it's reuse, recycle, and reduce. So by saying reduce, it's looking at our design and saying, is there anything here that doesn't need to be here? And I'm looking at this piece and I'm saying, I am seeing some things that don't need to be here, or some things that could otherwise be utilized much more effectively. And the one thing it is this panel right here with the holes cut in it to see through to this. All right. So the holes serve as what purpose? Do they serve a conceptual purpose to the project? They don't really. So therefore, do we need them? Now, don't forget, this entails a lot more money. It entails a die cut, which again, it's going to be a lot more money for the client. And as far as sustainability, I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference, but in terms of the reduce, I think that you're just wasting resources cutting these holes just to show these words through the holes. Do you see what I'm saying? I recommend not doing that. I recommend designing this to fit as much information on here as possible. For example, if we look at the front cover, is what we would be looking at if we were looking through the holes. There's no information on the front cover. That's a prime real estate right there. You should have all sorts of information in there. Who are we? What are the things we talked about? And what information do we need? What is the problem? Who we are, what we stand for, and what you can do to help. So you've got plenty of stuff that you can add here. So I'm not sold with the cutout holes. I just don't think it's a good use of materials, of resources. And I just don't see this being pertinent to the concept. Okay, to follow what I'm saying? So I would redesign that portion. Other than that, I think I've pretty much covered everything. My final suggestion would be, wonderful. That was going to be my final suggestion, your citations page, but this is wonderful. All right, so there you have it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything else, please feel free to contact me. And if you want to address these issues and repost before deadline, again, you know I'm here, and I don't mind doing this for you guys. So have at it. All right. Very good job, Sandy. Thank you so much.